Okay, testing 1, 2, 3. We're trying to get more and more professional here on Handshake Mastermind Twitter Spaces. And Alex is coming up on stage, alex.hns. I see ape.c.wallet. Jason on the team, HNS broker. I know it's super late for our European friends. And I am just getting back recently from Europe. It's actually on the agenda. So I'm Mike Michelini. I don't know how to introduce myself anymore. Anne was just chatting to me. Anne at SkyInclude. She's like, I don't know how you can do it, Mike. So many projects. But I love to create. That's why I love Handshake, because it's a creator's ecosystem. It's a creator's tool. And it's a tool for keeping your content online as long as you're able to, as long as you want to. And, I'm sick and tired of being censored and seeing people censored on the internet. So that's always why I've been passionate about this project and this community. But I'm a creator. So is Alex up here? Alex, is this working? You want to try to test?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Awesome.
I'm just super scared to touch my laptop. I'm on the laptop again. I know those that are on live or listen to recordings know that I have bad luck with Twitter Spaces. So I'm going to just try to not touch anything, because sometimes when I start browsing different tweets, you won't be able to hear me anymore or something like that. So I'm just going to kind of keep the laptop up and hope it keeps working. And thanks, Anna, as always, behind the scenes, keeping things going. Are you going to be able to share a little bit, Anne, yourself? I want you to be more on the front too. How are you doing, Anne?
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Good evening. Good morning. Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm excited about hearing updates about HNS. It's been a while that we've been getting information. I mean, getting some news about stuff. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, let's just address that right away. It's deep in the bear market. I mean, I'm not like a crypto day trader or whatever, but some have said this has been one of the longer bears in the crypto history. So of course it's hard to stay motivated in a bear market, right? It's hard to push yourself when there's not news of people getting rich, and there's not news of new things coming out all the time. But I've said it on various calls, and the bear is where you build. The bear is where you separates the men from the boys. This is where I think the big money can be made. I'm not doing this just for money, but of course, we're all trying to also have financial freedom, and we're also trying to be able to change the world, and we need to be rewarded and need financials to be able to support ourselves. But yeah, it's super hard, right? It's super hard to stay motivated right now in this extended bear market, especially in our space. There's this legal issues with UD and others, which has been annoying, I know, for more than others. And but we have to stay motivated. We have to keep pushing forward. We have to think about the long-term vision. So Anne helped prepare a little bit of a list of some updates for us to cover today. Let me see if I can find out without crashing something. Where did you send that in? Okay, I think I found it. So I'll share some updates from the Prague trip and the Hacker Congress. I got to meet some people in the community, which is really fun. I haven't met so many in real life of the Handshake community, so that was great. Also, some updates about HNS listening nodes and grants that are being done by Eric in the community, Handle from Sajin and the Agaman team. Some talks about getting HNS on exchanges and what that might entail. Just reminders about renewals and transfers. Flamingo Handshake is next week. We'll share some of the names that we're getting sourced. I'll share some of the updates on the LoadPipe project and the purse acquisition. And of course Q&A or others. Also HNS.id. I'd love to hear some updates, so we have some Q&A on that. And of course, if there's somebody else here that wants to come up on stage or share a project or ask a question, that's what this is meant for. But we've been starting to add a little bit more structure so that in case there's no questions, we have stuff to talk about. So maybe we'll start with the Prague trip. I was in Prague for about a week at the very end of September, early October. Hadn't been to Europe or Prague since I think 2016. So Europe is a cool place, Actually, there's quite a lot of Handshake community in Europe, I've noticed, from auctions and events and the community. I think of Johnny Wu mentioning that when he was sending swag out. There's a lot of international shipments for swag. So this is a very international community, which I think is amazing. But I arrived there, had a little bit of a rough arrival. I haven't traveled outside of Asia for quite a long time. So I was a little bit rough on the edges, left my laptop in the seat pocket in front of me and Vienna connection. Embarrassing, but I was so lucky I got that back without too much of an issue. Really nice people at Vienna airport. So, arrived into Prague and parallel police. I'm going to still say it wrong, but from what they told me, that translates to parallel society in English. This was the 10th annual HCPP or Hacker Congress Parallel Police, which is Parallel Society. And it's a really cool space. I had my camera, but I couldn't. They have this no photo, no video policy. They're very strict in I guess a good way about privacy. I think there's some people there that wear masks, not COVID masks, but like anonymous masks, like bandanas and glasses to cover their anonymity, which is pretty awesome. I mean, I guess some people might be scared, but there's some people with like red bandanas covering their face, wearing like shades and a hat, and they're anonymous. Maybe they even have a handle, like an anonymous handle, but that was pretty awesome. And it's a humongous space. It's like a hacker space. There's like a second floor hacker space. There's like back rooms with stages and studios for events, and there's like a bar, and there's like lounges, and there's coffee shops, and there's underground studios for recordings and events and black lights. And so it was awesome. I got to meet .x and HNS Broker. There was a funny picture on my Twitter at the time. We had a little after party with them and some others and in the space, which was really fun. Thanks for your support. Also, lots of HNS swag was given out, stickers and postcards and various things. I brought my old worn out HNS hat from Johnny Wu at Namebase back in the day. And that was fun to rep. And of course, I guess the main event was my sharing there, my speaking. It was recorded, and the recording is on the SkyInclude channel, and there is some other recordings in their Parallel Polis as well if you want to check out other speeches. Essentially, it was a 45-minute talk. Actually, I don't like to watch myself. I don't think a lot of us like to watch ourselves or hear ourselves. At least I think it's somewhat common. But I actually watched myself do that speech, and I really liked it. Of course, it was the first time I've delivered that. I made that speech from scratch for that event. But I did even update the speech after. I think I want to do that talk again. I added more supporting documents, but basically it was a talk about true ownership of your name. The highlights were, I don't even feel like it's hard anymore to show about the censorship. And the people chuckled when I said the censorship is on the rise. And I say, quote, or parentheses, in the Western world. So a lot of you know I lived in China almost more than 10 years. Actually, technically, COVID was another couple, so 12 and a half years total. I've lived in mainland China, where I learned about all the different tools and tricks to access the outside internet. It's basically commonplace in China, and it's sad. It's really sad, but it's happening in the Western world. Canada, UK. I mean, I guess somewhat indirectly in the US. Um, it's building up like the Chinese Great Firewall, and it's really sad. But it's another reason that what we're building is important and needed in the world. So I mean, that was kind of the obvious stuff I showed about the UK passing the new I don't know, Internet Safety Act or something like this. I'm just showing screenshots of news in the last couple of years that's just showing censorship happening. And then of course went through the Handshake case and explaining the long-term vision of how it can work and how it can work on multiple different blockchains, like we're already doing now, right? We have it working on SLDs on Optimism now with HNSID. We have it on mainnet Ethereum with Impervious. We have it on Stargaze or Cosmos with .stars, and of course just traditional domains and in the traditional domain space through Namecheap and other registrars. So, and of course the questions that I got was somewhat common, but if the one that I even still got to work on is, there's still these Bitcoin maxis, but I have a response for them now. I didn't have it when I was there, but of course everybody says, why can't you just build this on Bitcoin? That's always the common one. Why can't you just build this on Bitcoin? And my response is, you need a dedicated blockchain for if this does hit mass scale and is used, does get to max mainstream usage, it will be a very busy blockchain, and we want to keep the transactions costs low, and we want to have it clean and focused. I remember JJ sharing at the HandyCon about not having it mixed up with lots of other transaction data and competing with other non-critical data like a TLD update. Was my main response. And of course, the beautiful story of giving away, especially in this bear market, I kind of questioned that logic, but giving away the 10 million US rate, 10.2 million US raised from venture capital is just given. And then HNS broker help. I'm going to add this to the slides. But I'm going to show the screenshots of the tweets from these people, proof that they had received like 200,000, 300,000, a half a million, like GIMP and all these different nonprofits and open source projects receiving all the different donations from the 10.2 million raised. It's really a beautiful thing. And it was also something that had attracted me to this project at the beginning. So it definitely got the point across. There was some people that had UD domains there in the questions and answers, and it just still seems like education. People still don't understand I'll be honest, when I first heard about Handshake, I didn't understand it in 2020. I didn't understand how TLDs worked. I didn't understand how the ICANN system worked, and I didn't understand it. So I think that's just a big challenge. People still see like a domain name just as like an SLD that's issued and resolves, right? They don't understand the importance, at least especially for us in the Handshake community, of a root zone and a TLD. They don't seem to understand that. Was kind of my feedback from some of the questions I got, and even afterwards. But there was also some cool things, like there was other speeches in the Hacker Congress that showed HNS logo or showed HNS as a naming wallet naming next to ENS. And I still really believe there's only really two. Of course, there's this third real solutions out there. There's ENS, there's HNS, and then there's this UD. I mean, of course, there's other ones that popped up during the bull that I don't think will last personally, but there was a bunch of others on Ethereum that were various forms of naming protocols or naming spaces. But I don't think they're going to survive the bear market, or they're. So I really believe more than ever, we're surviving this bear market, and we're getting usage, but maybe we have some other people share. I don't want to rant too long. It's not meant to be a one-sided conversation. So, but I mean, that was some of the highlights, but it was really great, and but still a lot of people, I met some people that were early miners of Bitcoin or of Handshake, and are still, excited about the project. I think some people just aren't as into like domains, right, as like a full-time thing, right? So some of the early miners I also met Bitmain. Somebody saw maybe my clips with Margie. They were not at Hacker Congress. They were at the POW Summit, Proof of Work Summit. They were a major sponsor, and I got to have lunch with them. Maybe I'll save that, but the majority of their discussion is they want to get HNS listed. They want to help get HNS listed on exchanges. They think that will help Handshake. But before I get into that, maybe Alex, do you want to share a little bit about HNSID or take some questions on that from us? How you doing?
Hey, Mike. Yeah, I'm doing good. I hope everybody else is doing great as well. I wish I could go to Prague with you and see everything that you experienced. Sounds like a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm here to basically to answer questions about Namebase or HNSID, and also share my personal opinion about Handshake,
Sure.
as always.
There was some. Well, it's public on Twitter, but our alternative naming solution UD CEO Matt was tweeting out about HNSID, and I don't know if someone had responded from your side officially or unofficially. I saw a tweet that he said oh, it's not secure chain, or he was basically trying to poke holes in HNS.id, but he did recognize it, and he did say, I think he's only looking at SLDs, right? He does not seem to look at the root zone of Handshake, right? He's just looking at SLD domain solutions. But maybe you should reiterate why optimism. Is it? I'm not sure if you're qualified. I can answer that too, or I've been following optimism. I'm also going to be building on optimism within the LoadPipe project.
Nice.
But do you want to reiterate a little bit about why optimism? Because maybe there was some criticism on that.
Yeah, to be honest, I really don't see the UD Twitter/X posts of Matt, because he blocked me a long time ago. I haven't seen those tweets. So all the things you're saying to me is news, honestly.
And if you can help take that one up, it was earlier this week, I think. But anyways, I mean, he's basically I think he, as UD has said, they're a customer of blockchains in some of their speeches publicly. So I guess they feel they're not a customer of optimism. Maybe I couldn't really. He was just, honestly, it's kind of shocking to see a CEO of a funded company kind of being critical of competitors publicly.
Yeah, and honestly, I haven't even commented. I've seen the posts, as I'm sure many of you have, of Matt and UD, but for some reason he blocked me and several other Namebase employees for some reason. So yeah, I haven't seen those posts yet. So ape.c, you're the man for sure.
Yeah, ape.c is awesome. I think he must be blocked for sure. I'm not blocked, but I haven't really engaged him too much.
I don't want to speak for him, but I'm sure that he sees all the posts, and everybody else that has the ability to see sees them. In regards to your other question of optimism, well, I have, as I said, I haven't seen the posts because I'm not able to. But
I think his critique
they
was it's
do.
not secure or something like this. But
Okay.
I'm asking Anne if she can dig it up. I'm afraid to freeze my computer or my Twitter space if I start searching. So it's basically, I think he was being critical of optimism, maybe from my.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not here to compare something that's not comparable. So I'll just speak about what I know. And what I know is that UD's SLDs are minted on Polygon, from my understanding, and I mean that's fine. But the main reason why we consider ourselves truly decentralized is because we not only have the root zone of the TLD as as Handshake as the truly decentralized blockchain, but also we're using Ethereum second level optimism as the way to mint the NFT. What this means is that because the TLD itself is the root is decentralized, the second level domain is essentially adding a second layer of decentralization towards the NFT itself. And as I said, I don't want to compare. I don't know what's going on with UD for the root zone of their TLDs. But in terms of second level domains, we do ensure that they are decentralized because we use a similar process to Impervious, but instead of Ethereum, we opted to choose for optimism. And the reason for that is essentially thinking about the UX user experience of purchasing NFT domains. So less gas fees, lower costs, and faster transactions. So that was the main reason for Optimism, because if Optimism provided these same aptitudes, these same values, we would use Optimism. We would use Ethereum. Sorry. So this is the main reason why we used Optimism. In regards to speaking about the competition, I won't, but yeah, I guess I can share that personally. I share the same feeling as most of our audience, for sure, because they do not have a decentralized root zone. They just have their
Yeah, it
own
seems like
root zone.
maybe they're thinking all like actually like even mainstream users are just looking at SLDs, right? They don't seem to think about the root zone. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of the core difference of Handshake from other naming solutions, even not even just UD, but just anybody, like even ordinals or anybody. I swore I also saw Matt sharing something about ordinals launching .eth on ordinals and .com on ordinals. So
Oh man.
yeah, yeah. Just for completeness, I did find the tweet in a Telegram chat.
Okay.
I think it was somebody in the community on Handshake asking him what is the beef with Handshake, and he wrote back, "Good question. Handshake was a fun experiment, but it's a poor technical solution. The individual domains are not on-chain assets and have to use OP optimism to make that happen. Even then, it's still 100% trusted setup. In my opinion, IMO, this makes it unsuitable for on-chain asset identity." That's the tweet. I I sent it to Anne to maybe see if she can pin here. But no,
Yeah.
it
But
seems like he's
that's
not
an
really paying
incorrect.
attention
That's
to
an
TLD.
incorrect statement. What's going on, guys? But that's an incorrect statement, right? Because that's not your only option with
Exactly. He's either purposely or uneducated. Yeah.
So he's going to be over at there's the Domainer Expo conference coming up in December, December 6th, 7th. A couple of different Web3 initiatives going on there, and I'll be attending, checking it out as well. So it's going to be interesting. Obviously he's got a lot more technical expertise than me, but in terms of just the basics stuff like this, I mean, if he mentions stuff like this, I'd be happy to just correct him on certain things
Yeah. I
because
don't know if
that is an incorrect
yeah,
statement.
it's
If you
just
look at
incorrect, right? So,
well, technically, when I was not on Namebase, working at Namebase, but I was working on Namecheap, and I saw that we could gift SLDs through Namecheap, from Namebase. These were technically Handshake SLDs, but the reason why we and Impervious decided to go on a different blockchain to mint NFT SLDs was because of the extra layer of decentralization. So I believe that statement is inaccurate, but I don't know the level of the technical level of that person who tweeted that.
I will maybe be a little bit more technical, and I want to be balanced. So I will put it out there. There is some centralization in the Optimism blockchain, and I think even Optimism themselves would agree. I forgot the term, but basically there's only a single relayer to ETH L1, because that's what L2s do. Is they're cheap because you have a 7-day. They basically are. Well, there's different kinds of L2s on Ethereum, and I don't want to get into this in a Twitter space too deeply, but what they basically all of them do in different forms is they basically consolidate all the transactions onto L2, and then they batch them and send them to L1, which is Ethereum level 1 later. And they're doing that right now through a single relayer or something like this that they are controlling at the Optimism Foundation. And they, like many others, say later they will have more, or they will decentralize that later. So I'm not sure if that's at all what Matt's even bringing up, but I do, I don't want to just be like only saying one side. There is some of that and I think Optimism would answer that. But even Polygon, I think Polygon is also like a 7 multi-sig controlled L2, I believe. I don't want to be like say I'm a blockchain expert, but a lot of L2s do give up some of the decentralization for transaction costs. That's how they're able to make it cheaper, just in general. So I just want to make that clear, educate, at least from my understanding. I don't want to.
Yeah. So his statement should be HNS.ID. It should not be handshake. That's what it should be corrected. HNS.ID is on Optimism. Sure, that's fine. But like Alex just mentioned, that's not the only option. We can go with Impervious, which is on Ethereum. That's not an L2.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know if it's on purpose or not on his side, but this is actually the confusion with a lot of people in the broader community of both domain and just internet or Twitter. They just look at that whatever SLD, like they thought gateway.io is Handshake, right? And then they were saying when a .wallet lawsuits and all that horrible drama that we're still working ourselves through as a community, and of course Scott and .wallet is dealing with a lot. Thank you for your endurance there, but they thought that was Handshake, right? And there's a lot of people on Twitter saying, oh, look, Handshake is not decentralized. I think it's just, I guess it's a challenge. That we have to get, but it's actually my favorite part about Handshake is you can do it. You can have it on a centralized, you can issue SLDs. I could sell SLDs on any TLD I have, right? I can make a website right now and a shopping cart. I can, like WHMCS, WMCA, I could sell SLDs all day if I want, right? And that's not decentralized, but I can choose. That's what I think that's my favorite part about it. That's one reason I like it, is I can choose what I want to do with my own TLD. But yeah, people don't seem to understand it, whether it's on purpose or not.
Yeah. Mike, so regarding the other part of your question, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I'm sorry, I'm on the computer. I can just read King. So King, thank you for speaking and your comments. And yeah, I was speaking obviously about HNSID because that's what I understand the most about. In regards to updates that I'm, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Sure. So in regards to updates that I'm available to share about HNSID, A couple of exciting things. Number one is that we are working very hard on public staking for HNSID, and this will most likely come next year. The reason for that is because we are looking at the possibility to do it through Namebase, and not just any other place. So yeah, if you want to stake TLDs, you'll probably have to have them on Namebase. But this will probably come next year. One thing that I can confirm about that is that the staking cost will be $100 in HNS, but you cannot move existing staked names from the NB registry to the HNSID registry. Not yet, at least, but we are working on that. We are investigating how to do that safely. And that will probably come next year as well. So just want to mention that as well. I had a couple of community members reach out to me and to the team asking about TLDs that we will launch prior to public staking, and we will launch 4 new TLDs on HNSID. So I'm just going to go through the list here and share with you the TLDs. So yeah, so the one I'm personally most excited about is DAP, which will launch on HNSID. The second one is .hodl, HODL. Then .artist, and yeah, another favorite of mine, .bro, BRO, bro, .bro. We're gonna launch these 4 TLDs soon. So we're currently working on with the TLD owners on the design for the TLDs, and I do not have an exact date. It's as soon as possible. Yeah, so basically that's the big updates that I have for you guys regarding HNS.id. We're also getting close to 1,000 registrations on HNSID, which is amazing. And we have been also hearing about talks of creating 1K, 2K, 5K, 10K clubs for HNSID, which is very, very exciting. And it means that growth is coming to the website and the TLDs. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. In regards to Namebase, I don't have updates to share, but if you have any questions regarding that or HNS.id, I am here to listen and answer questions you may have or feedback. So I appreciate all of those from you guys. And yeah, that's basically it. And I wish I was in Prague with you guys, for sure.
Alex, are you accepting questions for Namebase as well, or is it just HNS.id?
Both.
So Namebase released a statement today, something about the US dollar withdrawals being stopped coming up November 1st, and then another stop coming up in December. Mm-hmm. Do you have any more information about that, or how, or maybe some suggestions as to what we should do? Is that something that's already been discussed? I may have been out of the room for a few minutes. I don't
know. Yeah. Thanks, King.
It is Paul. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, thanks,
Paul. All right, cool, Paul. Thanks, Paul, for the question. Yeah. In regards to that statement, we basically we're we had a partnership with Synapse that was on our landing page, stating that we had a partnership for the banking services with Namebase, but we are no longer partnering with them and looking for alternative partners to solve this problem. But for now, or at least until December 1st, if you have dollars on Namebase, I would personally suggest to convert them. But yeah, it's one of our goals to make Handshake the most accessible as possible for any regular user. So we will look into alternatives for this, but no timelines, nothing I can share about that for now. But yeah, that's the main reason. We're basically losing the partner.
No problem. Yeah, I saw that. That seemed, kind of a bummer to see that. But then, at the very end of it, they did post that they're looking for credit card adoption. So I feel that could definitely help because, it's a little complicated for the average person to get their hands on HNS. So maybe I understand it's centralized and everything, that part of it at least, but that's okay. It's just a matter of onboarding them. And once they're onboarded, then they can understand, how this side of the world works. But yeah, looking forward to seeing what Namebase has in store. Thanks for the opportunity, Mike. Looking forward. I'll just listen in here. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Thank you very much.
All right, so we lost Mike. I'm bringing him back on stage. Just give me a second. Thank you, Alex, for answering the questions, and thanks, Paul, for your questions. Hey, just give me a second while I bring Mike back on stage. Where is he? Okay. So, Mike, I invited you to speak. I don't know why Mike is very unlucky with Twitter. There seems to be like a hot, target on him. So, just give me a second. But the next topic would be the recent tweets that we're seeing. It's about the Handshake listening node. Okay, Mike is connecting.
And also, if there's another topic we could speak about, which is the next Flamingo Handshake Auction, right?
Yes, but we're saving the best for last. Just kidding.
All right. Cool.
Mike is back up.
All right.
And he's gone again. All right, so we have the Flamingo Handshake Auction. It's auction 24 for us, so we decided to not, do it on a monthly basis, but on like a special occasion. It's a special event, so we're doing a Halloween special, and we have two stake names. One is a researcher. The other one is sorry, hang on a second. And then the other one, we also have like names. I think it's a first name or a last name. So and also we're going to announce the other names very soon. Okay. Let me do some technical juju here first.
Phone.
Okay.
You can hear me?
There you go. Yep, loud and clear.
So I guess I didn't explain, but I'm in Bangkok right now at a conference. It's a DC. It's like a dynamite circle. It's like internet marketing, SEO guys. And So I'm on a hotspot actually, and the hotspot reset, and I lost my Wi-Fi, and it doesn't seem. Whenever you get off the Twitter space, at least as a speaker, you can't seem to rejoin. But luckily, I'm on through my phone, but at least through the laptop. So, anyways, sorry, I was so upset. Okay, well let's get back on track. Yeah, I was hearing you. I was hearing you, Paul and Alex. So yeah, it's um a real yeah. Hopefully the credit cards would be a really big. I know people love using credit cards. Um, so one is about the grant from Eric at Open System. He's been kind of gifting money around, which is awesome. He gave 100,000 HNS recently. I'll read the tweet, and I think it's pinned by Anne. But Handshake Enthusiast has completed their grant to launch and maintain a Handshake listening node. We've awarded Handshake Enthusiast 100,000 HNS for their contribution. Link to grant project and track the node via Shake Nodes. So that was just recently. I think that was only a day ago. This tweet came out. So, and then another tweet from him is Handshake Enthusiasts acquired a decentralized SLD share.mb via HNSID and published 2 blog posts re this grant project. And you can see the 2 posts. So they're building 2 blog posts on share.mb. So if you'd like to read those, how to set up listening Handshake node on AWS, how to set up listening Handshake node on Google Cloud. So that's pretty awesome. There's been previous grants. I think there's more grants of 100,000 HNS from this community member or director. It's really great to see. I've been seeing also in Telegram this being shared around. So if you're a developer, we want to support you and your project on Handshake, and it looks like Open Systems is putting money behind that, which is really awesome. Thank you for your contributions. If you're here, if you want to share on space or about this, I'd love to hear more of the background or the story or other parts of that. It's really great to see. Is there any comment on that from maybe Alex or Ed or Paul on stage? It's a bit technical, but I think it's great. We need as much technical. Okay.
Yeah,
Anne?
got a little bit there. Uh, nothing from my end. But congratulations, and yeah, good work, great job. Yeah, we need that very much. Yeah, we could move on to the next topic, Matt.
Yeah, sure. There's Handle, Handl. I mentioned it in the beginning. Sajin at Agamin has been really working hard a lot of various ways of building on Handshake. And he has this Handle solution. And he's also, I think he was actor, director before, right? And he's great on video. And he's got a 4-minute video explaining about Handle, but he has, of course, is always supporting Handshake integrations and usage there. So it's a way to use your Handshake name on Handle. That is, you can check the pin.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
Tweet for that. So thank you, Sajin, as always. I know it's early for him in India. I think right now it's almost 8 a.m. for me, but I think it's like 5 a.m. or so for him in India. But it would be great to get him on this space sometime in the future for all his hard work. And he's been at it since 2020, I remember, with different ways of integrating and building on Handshake. So definitely check that one out. Handle, I think the Web2 domain will be handl.bio. If you want to look on the Web2 version, and he has ways to integrate Yeah, he asked me to, but I have my profile on the homepage in Sajin, but it's also international. I think that's one thing he always highlights about handshake names. And actually, I saw him recently talking about it in Twitter. Oh no, on Telegram groups. But I think one thing that Sajin always liked was the low cost, and not because people don't want to spend a lot of money, but even you can get free TLDs, right? If there's no other people bidding on them or very low, and you have access to whole TLD. And it's another thing I know he likes is the international part, right? It's not just English characters or ASCII characters, or I'm not going to, you can have, of course, Hindu and other types of international languages. And the costs of the SLD can be localized in that market, right? Like others just charge like Ethereum or USD. You could sell it in any currency at any price you want. You could even give it away for free, SLDs of certain TLDs, or right. So I think that's one thing that he likes about Handshake, and is trying to be accessible to people all around the world, right? The whole internet, not just like maybe quote unquote first world or English speaking or Western worlds, but of course, India is a massive market, and others around the world. So definitely check it out. I'm looking at it right now, handl.bio. Let's go to the next point on my list is getting HNS into exchanges. I know everybody says when Binance, when Coinbase, it's always a struggle. Actually, I'm at this conference and I was talking to another VIP attendee that's also into crypto, and he's like, "Oh, I could sell you a Binance listing." I'm like, "Sell me a Binance listing?" And he's saying you could buy some of these dead shit coins that are on Binance and somehow switch it to another token. I mean, this is less than 12 hours ago as he was talking about this, but obviously it's not free. Obviously that's a lot of money. And so back to the story. So I did meet Bitmain. Of course, Margie, a lot of you remember and like. She helped arrange a lunch with me and some others, and a lot of her key team members at Bitmain. And they're still bullish on Handshake. They still like it. They still want it. They believe in it. They want it to succeed. And one thing they want to help with is getting it onto exchanges. So during our lunch in Prague, they were suggesting some of their ways they could help, and they mentioned OKX and Huobi exchanges. I'm not sure if people feel like they know those or are familiar with those. And they said they have connections there and they can help Handshake get into those exchanges. I said, wow, thank you. Yes, of course. And then there were some common questions that a lot of us have trouble answering, but who is the contact person of Handshake? Like that's like one of it was also their English wasn't so perfect, but they were speaking okay. Of course, they're Chinese. I said, well, there's not really, I'm not like the leader of Handshake. I'm a community member, and of course, I'm more and more involved. I'm speaking in an event about it, and but they said they need to have some kind of a company to sign the contract with the exchange, like a foundation or a company to sign the exchange contract. And they said there needs more liquidity and you need a market maker before you can get onto the exchange, because the exchange wants to see the coin or the token having more trading volume. So they said, oh, before we can help you get onto an exchange, you need to first engage a market maker, and we can also help you find a market maker, but the market maker is going to want a chunk of HNS to use to market make. So they said,
Sorry,
yeah, go ahead.
sorry, Mike, for
No,
interrupting.
please go
But
ahead.
what do you mean by market maker?
So yeah, I've been learning this too. So a market maker, is it's a standard kind of position, but a market maker is not the exchange. It could be the exchange, or the exchange could have their own market maker division. But a market maker means they provide liquidity, so they provide a bid and ask always of a price, and they always fill up the order book. So if you want to buy, say, let's just use HNS as an example. If you want to buy HNS, they would have like a whole list. Like they would have like, if you ever look at an exchange, they have like 100 at whatever price, and then 1,000 at more. If you want to buy more, right, the price is higher, and usually the depth, they call it depth in market making, is bigger. But basically, a market maker fills the order book of buy and sell, right, or bid and ask.
Mm-hmm.
So their job is to always have provide liquidity so that people can trade. Because I think people do complain about Handshake having low liquidity because they people want to buy or maybe sell Handshake. They try to buy it and it brings it up really high or drops it really low fast because it's low liquidity. But a market maker would solve that by having both. They basically are putting on both sides. They're putting up HNS, and it's a spread, right? So they make money on the spread.
Uh-huh.
But a market maker is filling the order book. In addition to retail, like you or I wants to buy or sell, we put in our order. But a market maker almost always has a buy-sell price out, and they're moving it as they see the supply demand for the coin or token on the exchange. So they have to have a lot of the token to do that. And the business model of that is, I think it's a mix of fees and maybe, for what I understand, the way it works, a market maker is you give them a chunk of the token or coin, and they use that to trade. And then I think there's fees. Of course, they make money trading it, right? Because they have the spread, but they also make money from probably that chunk of money. They keep a percent, or they charge a fee, or I haven't gotten deep enough into it, but that's basically what a market maker does. And then you use a market maker with an exchange. So the exchange works with market makers.
Okay.
And then they all make money because they make money on the buy sell, and then they make money on the transaction fees and such things like that. But they also provide liquidity and volume.
Okay. Cool. Thanks for answering. Yeah, well, if it helps, you can always redirect the contact to us, and we can try to make some sort of deal happen as community members. Because I think, I mean, if some people think that Namecheap is the corporation behind Handshake, but it's not. Namecheap is a community member, simply one that invests a bit more. But if possible, send these contacts to us, and
So
we'll talk to them and see if we can make something happen.
So they're somewhat active on. It means they use WeChat in China, so I'm in a WeChat group with them.
Yeah.
But they're somewhat active on Telegram, maybe email. But I guess basically the offer right now is they said they can maybe put up half from Bitmain. They said, which I'm pretty impressed with, but they said they can't put the whole amount. Of course, they have HNS themselves, and they believe in it, and they want it to grow and succeed, but they said they can't finance the whole thing. So they said if we can find, I didn't say how much, but obviously it's probably a lot of HNS or whatever, but they said if we could help find the other half, and then when we're ready to do it, they'll help introduce us to those people.
Yeah, let's talk about this in the end.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, and so that was some other positive updates from the event. And on my list next is, unless anybody else has questions or comments, transfer and renewals reminders. I think Ann helped. Yeah, Ann's always great behind this. Yeah, of course, please keep in mind, especially, there's renewals coming, and I mean, renewals has happened there. I know a lot of people feel like Handshake it's free forever. It's a very reasonable amount. Actually, I don't know if I want to put Alex on the spot again about renewals of on Namebase, because I know that's been updating and continues to evolve. But I think this bullet point is, there are renewals on, of course, Impervious, especially. They've been around for over a year. HNS.ID is not yet renewal because it just came out, but it will be yearly renewals. And the thing that's tricky about, renewals on the blockchain is you usually don't get an email reminder, and it can't auto charge your credit cards. So please, if you bought Impervious domains, and I think, you got to go in yourself. I think they give you a 2-month grace, so it might be getting to. It follows the ENS protocol's format of how it works with expired, but I just don't want people complaining or losing names that they care about if they're not. So you got to go in, especially on Impervious, log into your wallet that you purchased it with, and renew, just like .eth domains on ENS. So just a kind reminder there. But Alex, since you're here, do you want to give us some updates on the renewal process in Namebase? I hope you can still hear me. I'm always nervous here.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Maybe Alex muted.
Okay. I mean, I can try my best to explain, but I think AOX said it in maybe a previous space or updates, but Namebase paid the fees. I think the first wave of renewals was 2 years after mainnet, which is around 2022. 2020 is mainnet, right? 2020. So then that first year, a lot of TLDs came into existence on the chain, and they're 2 years. You need to do a heartbeat transaction renewal, and Namebase covered that in 2022, I believe. But if you look into your Namebase account now, you'll see renewal is on by default, auto renewal, and but they will be in, I think, 2024's renewals, passing that renewal cost of the TLD to the owner of that TLD on the Namebase account. So just keep that in mind. I think if you don't want to renew, you can turn it off. It's obviously not a lot of money now. But just want to bring that one up. Unless is there any questions or comments on that? Yeah, okay. And I don't know if people are requesting to come on stage, but we also welcome listeners to raise their hand, come on stage. We'll move on then. So the next topic is, at least on my list here, is the Flamingo Handshake Auction 24. That's 2 years exactly if it's monthly. But I know we took a little bit of a break. We did take a break from the auctions. We could have kept going, honestly, but I think I was part of the reason. I was part of the side to say to take a break on the auctions. Obviously, we're deep in a bear market. And it's not just Handshake, but I think any kind of Web3 product right now is not getting the highest price on auctions or in the market. So I just felt it made sense to take a little bit of a break, but we're bringing it back. People love it. It's not just about the auction. It's about the community. It's about the almost the habit or the vibes. So that'll be about a week from today, right, Ann? It doesn't have the date on my points, but I believe it's about next week around the same time. Of course, you can go to flamingohandshake.com or Flamingo Handshake emoji on Handshake and check that out. I think we have a couple of cool staked names on Namebase that have registrations. We're able to transfer staked TLDs in Namebase to other Namebase users. That doesn't mean you can unstake them. They'll still be staked, same terms of service, but they're able to be transferred to other owners. So we're going to, I think it's the first time, at least for us, to transfer or auction a staked Namebase TLD. So I'm excited about that with registrations. I think there's one or two. Well, of course, and do we have the list ready? Or do we?
Not the final list yet, but my mistake earlier. What we have is giveaways, samples, and then we're also trying to we're going to incorporate some .HNS SLDs from HNSID, like VIP HNS,
Cool.
AI HNS,
Nice.
and we also have Gethin or Getin. How do you pronounce it? I feel it's a last name,
Okay.
maybe a European last name.
Yeah.
And then maybe a last minute some single emojis will come in. So let's hope for that.
Okay.
But yeah, very excited about the auction again. Yeah, I kind of missed it.
Yeah,
So
I me too.
also co-host. Yeah, co-hosting we have Areen Augury. Yeah, she's coming on stage as well as encrypted. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Great. Great. So yeah, I mean it's true. It's about it's becoming like entertainment or culture for the community to just have these. Um, and we we also have the Halloween theme, right? I think Anne's always so creative with the team behind the scenes. If there's gonna be some Halloween elements to this, maybe you could dress up if you want, or if you're Anand, you could wear your mask and come on stage, something. That would be fun.
Yeah, last year's Halloween auction was very fun. Yeah, hopefully we can do the same this year. So looking forward to everyone. We'll be making updates on the website as well as making some announcements in the next few days. We also have like uh, additional partner organizations, for your donations. So I mean, like the 20% donation, 25% donation. We have new
Oh, great.
partners, so we're adding. So yeah, it's all about the growth of Handshake.
Yeah,
Yeah, really.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, looking forward to everyone. It's 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So the same time before we go into or end. Is it start or end? It's the end of
daylight.
the daylight.
Oh, brother. Yeah. So Asia doesn't follow that, or we are, but yeah, no, in the U.S., I'm not sure. I think Europe too. They changed the clocks. So yeah, it's gonna be 6 a.m. for me in Thailand next week, Friday morning. But I know it's also late for people in Europe. We could always consider the time change, but I guess we've been sticking on this time. But yeah, and then I think we'll switch in Asia to an hour. Falls back is how I remember fall. We're in autumn, fall back. So the clocks will go back, which means it will be 1 hour later for us in Asia. So we don't have to wake up as early next time. But yeah, I'm excited to bring the auctions back. Thanks for the sellers putting up good names and the buyers, bidders coming in and supporting. I think it's great names going to be coming, and it's also, yeah, like Ann says, supports uh, to various groups in the community as well as getting some good names. So hope to see some of you there, and maybe I'll wear it. Well, I'm a mask is my flamingo glasses. I'll have those, but I'm looking forward to it. So we're at the 1 hour mark, and maybe we start to wrap up or open it the floor. But I mean, I guess Ian puts it on my list is load pipe updates or the purse updates. You know, I feel like it is involving Handshake, but it's more e-commerce related. But I could share at the end if you want to hear. LoadPipe is it's a new protocol for within the Ethereum ecosystem for e-commerce transactions, and we're building it from the Purse.io acquisition. So I've been saying this, I think, on previous calls, but a group of us have acquired Purse, which is one of the founders of Handshake companies or incubators of the Handshake, and it's one of the original tools to buy on Amazon with Bitcoin, and we'll be winding down the current product and rebuilding it as a two-sided platform for people to buy and sell on the blockchain itself rather than buying on Amazon, and allowing people to sell on chain and buy on chain products, physical products, to continue the legacy of Purses giving real utility on the blockchain. So I'm really excited about this. Actually, I'm in an Ethereum global hackathon that ends this Sunday. We're making two different products within the LoadPipe protocol. One is called Zeppelin Finance, which we're so blessed to get really talented developers to join, back end and front end. And we're going to have a MVP launch this Sunday for allowing people to buy and sell. We call it RWA NFTs. So I'm not sure if people know what RWA stands for. RWA means real world assets. So we're tying NFTs to e-commerce products and using the blockchain to measure the sales of those assets to then credit rewards back to the holders of those RWA NFTs. And we're calling that Zeppelin Finance. And that should, at least we'll have a demo on Sunday. It's online. Yeah, I would like to involve the Handshake community more in this. And the vision of using Handshake with this is honestly, I think it's a huge opportunity for Handshake or Web3 domains in general. Because I always think of Andrew Rosner saying it, but he was thinking Shopify as a domainer, because he said Shopify blew up domains in a good way, because everybody had to get a Shopify store. They wanted to get a domain name for their Shopify store, right? Marketplaces, domainers don't like marketplaces because marketplaces doesn't really need a domain, right? You're just a shop inside of Amazon or a shop inside of eBay or a shop inside of a marketplace. But we're building LoadPipe to be a decentralized marketplace ecosystem so that anybody can make their own Amazon or a shopping cart. And obviously, the domains would not make sense, in my opinion, to be Web 2 domains, because I guess they could be like any kind of domain now, but I am bullish on censorship in a bad way. But I think censorship is, if there's a way to trade censorship in the stock market, I would be buying it now, because I only see censorship increasing. Unfortunately, it's not really funny, but I think we're going to need more and more of these decentralized platforms for even buying and selling physical products with a Handshake name or a Web3 name as the name of it. On top of that, I can see the use case of using usernames, well-known wallet names, to be a buyer or seller in these ecosystems. So I see a whole ecosystem of decentralized e-commerce, and there's basically nobody doing it right now. And I think using the Purse as a legacy of the community at Purse and some of the team, and of course Handshake and I'm an e-commerce seller first and foremost. That's kind of my normal day job as a seller. I spoke yesterday at this conference about Amazon, and I mentioned to them about Web3. If I mention to these people about Handshake, they're not as able to apply it right away. But when I tell them you can buy and sell your products on another channel besides Amazon, they're like, how do I sign up? Where do I go? I want to use this. So I'm getting huge positive feedback from my Amazon seller community about this protocol and this ecosystem. And I do believe it might not be as short-term direct for Handshake. I do think once they get into the rabbit hole of selling on the blockchain for their physical products, they will need and want and understand the importance of a decentralized domain and decentralized identity. So that's kind of my new angle. And I can answer questions, or I don't know. Anne's also trying to keep up with this. I know I overwhelm Anne, but I hope that helped her also understand what we're trying to make here. But it's very, very early. The purse deal still hasn't closed. It's in months and months of due diligence and legal. And I was on an hour-and-a-half call with lawyers a couple of days ago. And I probably say too much already, probably get myself in trouble, but I have obviously various contracts, non-disclosures and such I can't share publicly, but I just want to update you as much as I can, probably too much, but I try. So that's it on that side. Is that helpful, Anne? I know she puts that on a list.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, there are some points that we have discussed. Yeah, between us two that we're really excited about the RWA NFTs. Yeah, maybe Namer Tips would be interested in it.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, I know they have
Yeah, I mean, it's
several
honestly like
businesses.
so new, like it's even for me like hard to conceptualize, but it's essentially trying to add e-commerce layer onto the blockchain, and
Right.
it's really, actually I've never had so much positive success having developers join a project as I have with this. Um, they really are excited about it because, I mean, of course it's high risk, but it's humongous reward because if this um, works, I mean, if people are actually building, buying and selling products on chain, physical products, I mean, obviously e-commerce on chain, like that's a massive thing.
Yeah. Yeah, true, true. And we are always not forgetting to incorporate Handshake in it.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually,
Yeah, it's even in our, it's
yeah.
more, I don't know if it's totally confidential, but we have some various pitch decks. And of course, we always say we're going to have the wallet naming. I've had some brief chats with HNSID and finding how to like leverage, because I don't think we have to rebuild that, but I think within the ecosystem, because we're also going to build it within the Optimism protocol on L2 on ETH, because obviously people don't want, I don't think people want to spend tons of gas on L1 to buy a product. So we are, if it's in the same L2, it would probably be even easier to use your HNSIDs and others inside of this e-commerce protocol as your identity and domain. But yeah, it's still a little bit early to figure out the technical parts of that. But at least unless somebody can help me or help us.
Yeah, so if anyone from the Handshake directors or Handshake community is interested to learn more about LoadPipe and the other products like Zeppelin Finance, and feel free to reach out to us,
Yeah.
SkyInclude in general.
Yeah, I know
So
people are asking how to find out. I mean, we have loadpipe.com, LOADPIPE, and you can register with your email. I mean, it's not register, but like get on the newsletter. That might be the easiest passive way to get updated. But yeah, it's going really, really fast, and it's hard. Like every day, there's huge. I have a progress update with the developers in a few hours actually. So it's moving really fast. So it's hard to keep everybody up to date. But yeah, definitely reach out. So we're building this. It's an Ethereum project, smart contracts. So the way the Zeppelin works is it's going to be a platform for people to build plugins to measure sales of product RWAs inside of the blockchain. So the NFT would be more than art. It's not an art NFT. I mean, most NFTs right now are artwork, and you're buying the artwork. But here you're buying. It's a very tricky one, and the SEC might like handcuff me one day and throw me in jail or some shit. But because they don't want to lose their power. But basically, it's like somewhat like rights to a product sales. And, if our legal partner was on this call, he'd probably be cringing as I speak that right now. But basically, it's allowing you to kind of have exposure to the products that are selling on a marketplace in the form of an NFT. We're not even sure if we want to use the word NFT because it's got a bad name now. And that's what we're kind of saying, RWA, real world asset. But basically, you can kind of reward the holders through affiliate income, bonus pools, reward pools, royalties, and other types of forms, and make it actually an open platform for other developers to build on in that form. But yeah, super hard to conceptualize even for me. But that's what they're building, the developer team.
Thanks for those, Mike. Yeah, so, I think that's the last item on the list,
Yep.
perhaps.
Yeah, I think an hour, I think we try to do an hour now on these. It's a little bit over that, but we also welcome people to come up on stage. I think throughout this we do, but if there's anybody who wants to kind of come up, announce some project or ask a question or anything, we do welcome that, encourage that. It's not meant to be a one-way. But yeah, it was great to have Paul share a bit and ask some questions, and of course Alex again here as a regular. Thanks, Alex. Of course, Anne, thank you so much for helping me and us keep this going. She's doing so much behind the scenes, and there's actually a lot of others besides Anne helping on our team make this happen, like Jason and Stephanie and many others. So thank you for that, Anne and team.
And always a pleasure. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I think this bear is, I don't know. Somebody asked me yesterday, when's this bear going to be over? But yeah, I mean, yeah, it might be I don't know, it might be a longer one. If you look at historically, you can't really predict, but the future's never the same as the past exactly. But yeah, I mean, you think you just got to be ready, just be ready to keep on dealing with it and being strong. But go ahead.
Yeah, time like 6 months away. It's gonna be HandyCon again.
Yeah, we got to get HandyCon going. Actually, I would love, even now, if people have feedback or questions or suggestions. I don't know. I think it's just online, right, Ann? I mean, we're going to try to do in-person. I don't know. Like, we're doing Cross-Border Summit in a month, but in-person events is just really high pressure, intense, and expensive, we could try, but it's all Handshake community. There's a lot of anonymous people, and there's also people, it's very well distributed, like Erwin in Australia, I believe, and we have all, just some in the US and Europe all over, and Asia a bit, but I don't know. I mean, we can try in person, but
yeah.
I think we know how to do it well online, and it works pretty well online. But yeah, it's about 6 months away.
And so could be a good chance, like after the cross-border summit this November, it could be a good time to start up or fire up the community.
Yeah, we got it.
That we initially. And Mayank, for example, about the like the guidelines for the local community meetups.
Yep.
So yeah, I have to prepare. All right. So if you want to speak on stage, I'm ready to accept. But if you don't have any questions,
seems like unless I think if they haven't by now, maybe there aren't any. I can't see. I'm scared to crash my. I don't know why I have such bad luck with Twitter Spaces, but luckily it wasn't such a bad hiccup this time. I got back on, but other times I can't get back on, or half the people can't hear me, or something. So I don't know why I have such bad luck with Twitter Spaces, but I do think it's still the best platform for these calls, right? It seems, or if anybody has other suggestions on tech to use, we would appreciate it. And but yeah, I think we can wrap up.
Nathan, I know Nathan Woodburn is making a lot of, magic.
Yeah, he has the WordPress hosting and building on Handshake, which is awesome because we build on Handshake too at our team, and WordPress is very easy to use CMS, open source. So yeah, Nathan, do you have the link for that, Ann, offhand? But he's making it easy to build Handshake onto WordPress tool, which is very well received in my opinion. So people can easily build WordPress sites. I don't want to pick on the competition, competition, but the alternative Web3. But I don't really see people making WordPress sites on those. I think those can't. They have to be like IPFS or something, right? I mean, again, I just try to highlight some of the advantages of Handshake. It's just so flexible. You can use it in so many different ways. With the database-driven, WordPress sites, you can get it up and running in minutes. So it's really awesome. I just don't know if the others can do that. To be honest, I don't think so, actually.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Just a quick thought. So I heard that you were saying that HandyCon is 6 months away.
Yeah, March.
And because we still have a few months until then, it will be interesting to see what would be cool to share, or what would the HandyCon organization be looking for in terms of speakers, so that we can build some momentum until then.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, in my opinion, and it's just an opinion, but I think we always want to try to highlight the builders. I remember from earlier ones, we wanted to always give this as a platform for people building on Handshake to share what they're building to the community and the broader ecosystem. And to me, but of course, they're not quote unquote famous people, right? So I guess we also always would, Jahan has helped us get more quote unquote famous people in the space. There's a second kind of bucket, but I think one is the people developing on Handshake is always, I think, a highlight. Fistful of Ass was always, I hope he comes back. I think he's popped in and out in the community, but he was always really hard core about making sure we make it technical. At least he wanted it to be very technical to really educate and attract developers to the ecosystem rather than more the domain space ecosystem, but more technical. And I think, 1 or 2 years we've tried to do like one day is more technical, the other day is more like domain trading kind of focused. Because we're trying to be different. We're not just trying to be another NamesCon or. I think Handshake is kind of bridging the developers as well as the kind of domain investors together because we need to build on it, right? So I think there's these kind of two buckets in the ecosystem. There's the developers and there's the traders or the investors. So and then I think another bucket is we try to invite other protocols or projects that are using Handshake, and we kind of like thank them and let them share their project and also show how it connects to Handshake. Like, of course, Akash has been there a few times. Saya has been there in the past, like David. So other projects, we've had a VC panel sometimes, but probably the biggest would be getting big names. Try to get some big names, because with events, people always like big names, especially if we want to try to bring in more people that are not aware of Handshake. So if you can think of some kind of bigger name speakers that would be willing to share and speak, that would be helpful for sure. So yeah, especially with this amount of time. I don't know, maybe those kind of quote unquote famous ones don't have to be so much active in Handshake, but if their vision and their brand aligns with Handshake, it would be great, if that makes sense.
It would be interesting to get a GoDaddy spokesperson to be there.
True.
Just to get their perspective.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And do you have maybe we could even make a form, I think maybe we should make like a speaker request form or a suggestion form, but I think that I am so curious about GoDaddy. I don't hear them active in any kind of Web3 project that I'm aware of, but we'll be curious to hear their insights or their perspective.
Yeah, for sure. But
that's a good idea, and I hope it's okay. Give her more tasks or things, but maybe we should do some
sorry, Anne.
surveying or forms. I do agree. We could just say 6 months to go, approximately. We don't have a date yet, but we've always done it in March, so it'll probably be like middle of March, right? That's generally. Also, dates and times are appreciated. You know, Alex, I don't know. I know you always are up in the middle of the night for these. We could try different times or different tracks that are on different time zones and such as well.
True. Yeah. I think I heard the man raising his hand.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'm just scared to touch my phone, so yeah, let people up on stage if they're here.
Well, yeah. Hi, Michael. Hi, Ann.
Hello.
Hi, Al. Yeah,
Hi.
this is Win Airdrop by Heart Domains, obviously.
Oh, and airdrop, great, man.
Yeah. First and foremost, obviously, if you ever want me to speak at anything, I'm always available for you.
Sure.
Second thing, kind of wanted to suggest or make you guys aware of. So networking, obviously, we're talking about how kind of that's important. Wanted to make you guys aware of an opportunity to network. You obviously know where I stand on kind of the side of the fence of Web3 domains. I think everybody can make it. Love everybody's tech and building. There is a conference that is being put on by an individual that's in the listeners panel. It's actually going to be happening next month. It's going to be a Web3 domain focused conference. We're trying to get anybody and everybody who has relevance, that wants to build, wants to grow, wants to network, wants to find those speakers and those connections that will then come to HandyCon, things like that. I want to invite you guys to kind of learn more about that conference and attend if it's something you're interested in.
Great. What is there a domain? What's the URL or how can people
It's
learn more?
domainerexpo.com.
Okay, Domainer Expo. Great. For sure. I'll check it out myself and yeah, anyone here? So then just that's the best way. So check there and there's like or should they contact you or is there a contact form there or what would be a good call to action for people at this point?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a contact form on the website itself. Obviously, you can reach out to me. If you look in
Okay.
the listeners panel, there's a gentleman named Ishmaeli.
Okay.
In the listeners, he was actually at NamesCon both this year and
Great.
last year. It's his conference, so you can reach out directly to him as well.
Ishmaeli. Okay. Um, I have tech issues with Twitter Spaces, so I don't want to like. And maybe you can or help me or when airdrop if you
And
can maybe send me his
I'll
name.
DM you, man.
Yeah.
I'll DM you on Telegram.
Okay, perfect. Thanks so much.
Will this be a online or in person conference?
This is in person in Vegas, sir.
Whoa.
Oh man, I wish.
Amazing.
I wish. I'm in Portugal. It's gonna be hard to get there, but I would love to.
Yeah.
Regardless, we might get some Namebase people to go there, which are closer to Las Vegas. So if possible, if you could DM me and just send some details, that would be awesome. I appreciate it.
Great. Yeah. To Marcus, to Alex, if you aren't yet. So, thank you for coming up on stage. I already followed Ishmaeli.e.
Okay.
I hope I person.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Anything else or anyone else who wants to
Yeah,
share,
please. I mean,
wants to add?
like, I'm trying to be open and inclusive. I don't want to say I'm only Handshake, but we're open to other technologies and partnerships and solutions. But yeah, well, we would love to just be a platform to share. So if you have others have other things they want to share here, please, this is a great time to do that. But I think we're tapped out here. It's an hour and a half. I think it's a good amount of time.
Yes.
All right.
Thank
again,
you.
thanks One Airdrop for sharing and participating, and thank everybody for hanging out with us for this Spaces. We try to do these every month, and we should think of a schedule because the auction is next week. Usually they're like 2 weeks apart, but I think it's my fault because I've been on the road lately more, right? But I think we usually try to do this earlier in the month, and then the auction is usually later in the month, like I think 2nd and 4th or 3rd, something like that. But all right, thank you everybody, and please feedback to me or Ann or SkyInclude1 or however you'd like to get it to us. We do try to listen and improve as much as we can. So thank you. And this
Have a good night.
this will be posted
Good
on
day.
Handshake.mastermind on Handshake and also on I think the SkyInclude YouTube. I think Jason helps do that. Thanks, Jason. Thank you, everybody, and have a great day.